are Billy Goat Tails. We love you, fam. Hashtag givers gang. 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 We are Billy Goat Tails. We are Billy Goat Tails.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome in to Billy Goat Tales on a Sunday afternoon. We appreciate you being here. So, what's going on with the Crow token? That is some crazy stuff. We're going to get into it. Also, USD1 stablecoin. Going to have a topic on that. We're going to have some conversation on that. And of course, the big GameStop Bitcoin pivot. Let's see what's going on with that. We got some few other topics, but first, let's get down to it. Say hello to the team. What's going on, Dave Digital?
What's going on, Crypto Billy? Just hanging out, in and out of trades on the Bitcoin. Looking forward to today's topics.
Yeah, man, I actually got some trading done yesterday and today myself. Jimmy Jim, what's the word? T-Bird, how you been?
A little better. Feel human again. Back from the dead. At least half dead.
Well, you look
Island
way
counts
better than the other day.
Getting old.
That's right. And we have the Red Man. What's going on, Red Man? Good to see you.
Crypto Billy, Dave Digital, Jimmy Jim. Happy Sunday to you guys and to the best community in all of crypto. Happy Sunday to you all as well. I'm going to drop the link for the book in the chat. I will do that right now. Go out and buy it. It's on Amazon. Go ahead and get your copy. Paperback, $14.99. EPUB it's going to be $9.99. Back to you, Billy.
Red's going rogue again with that book. Dave, you want to say hello to chat while we're talking about the chat? Let's say hello to him.
Yeah, let's take a look at the chat. It looked like Blocky edged out Mike Vollmer for first. He was actually edged out again by Philly Whiz Kids. I think Billy was bringing in Philly Whiz Kids, or not Billy, Jimmy. And he says GameStop is selling sports cards too. Interesting, Jimmy. We had Tex-Mex stopped in to say hi. We have Alexandra G wishing everybody a happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you, Alexandra. We've got B Team Crypto, of course, Jimmy in there. And Andrea, one of our favorite mods, hanging out. Dark Crash is drinking the water. You see Jessica Luck, never fails, always Jessica Luck. We got Darren Does Things, doing things in the chat. And we've got Koa. That's Koa giving a bark at us. K Diggs in the chat. And I'm not sure if I missed anybody, but Will.
Wifey, you said wifey, right? I see wifey down there.
I see wifey now, and I also see Crypto Princess, who just interviewed Redman. That was an amazing interview. Good job, Red. Good job, Crypto Princess. And I think that's it. Hashtag Givers Gain.
Givers Gain.
All right. Well, Redman, let's get into some bubbles. You ready to do some bubbles?
Let's go. Yeah, so this is their hourly right here. So as you can see, not much difference. Form Leo leading the charge on the downward spiral. Other than that, we got some green flare up 1.3%. Looks like your Dino coins, EOS. Nothing really standing out though. Let's go to the day. In the day, we got a mostly green day. Yesterday was a good day, so we're still up. Look at EOS, 9.5% again. Hey, and there's the Crow token right there at 5.8%. Ton is still strong at 5%. 369 got a little bit of retracement, but nothing much. CAS 2.9%. The Juke coin up 4.6%. TIA 3.5% for you TIA fans out there. Let's go on to the weekly. Okay, now you can see where things are kind of changing a little bit. So the Crow token is up 30%. So Crow with that new partnership, World Liberty Financial, we're going to get into that today. Hyper liquidated. I mean, the hype tokens down 20%, Pies down 20%, Cake is down 23%, Caspa down 18%, and everything else is so. Let's move on to the month. Everything's pretty much red. Crow's up 42%. Pi is down 61% since its launch. Gala's down 22%. Jimmy Jim. Let's see what else is in there. Nothing much. And then the yearly, pretty much the same as it was last week. XRP up 245%. Mantra up 800% still, but this has been retracing a little bit. Yeah, we're down to $6 now. It caught a high at $8.43, so now we're down to $6. Be interesting to see if it can stay up there. If it'll retrace even more. Sui's up. It's retracing a little bit, but it's still up 24% for the year. And that's pretty much all I got for you on the bubbles. Back to you, Billy.
Yeah, man. That a Crow token, we're definitely going to get into that for sure. It's just crazy to me, I don't know how that works. We'll get into the topics of that. I'm going to get us over to let's get into the market update, Dave. Let's hit the market update. All right, let me refresh this to make sure we're good because I had it open a little bit earlier. Yeah, so fear and greed, 24. Fear and greed's at 24. 2.67 market cap, 2.67 trillion market cap. And let's see here. I'm always having a problem with this cursor on mine. Let's see here. Bitcoin right now, 82,552. Ethereum, $1,800 Ethereum, Jimmy. Goodness gracious, man. I mean, that's a topic in of itself. And somebody started that F.ETH. I was like, that's funny. F.ETH. XRP, $2.14, up 1.56 on the 24-hour. But everything's still pretty much down on the 7-day. The only thing that's not down is like USDT, right? And USDC. Tron does have a little bit of a movement. It's at 23 cents. Let's see what else we got moving and grooving here. Sui is up 7-day, 4.74%. Sui's at $2.34. A lot of people long on Sui, that's for sure.
I think there might be a small, let's just say, group of folks that are longing Sui altogether.
Do you think, Dave?
I think there might be. We might all be subscribers to a certain channel that's been promoting Sui trades going long, and I think they may be pretty successful at doing so.
There wasn't any resistance until 350 something is what I saw on there. Yeah, I might be wrong though.
Yeah. Well, the first topic we wanted to talk to everybody about, I'm sure you've heard all the news, but this whole Crow thing. So what's interesting is they had 30 billion supply of Crow, and they burnt that back in 21, and now they decided to reverse burn that and bring back 70 billion. So they had 30 billion. They actually had 100 billion. And in 21, they decided to burn 70 billion. And then here in March, they decided to reverse burn that, bring back 70 billion tokens, which now puts them at 100 billion tokens as a supply. And you would think that price would just drop out of sight. But it had a little pullback, and since the 24th, March 24th, it's up. It's up. As you saw, red's up, bubbles. It's up like 30%. it's just so crazy to me. Now, of course, there was two sets of news cycles there, basically on the same day, and World Liberty decided, along with BTC, that they would launch that ETF. So World Liberty, which I think everybody knows, Trump's owns like 60% of that. They decided to go in together to launch that ETF, which so you have that news, I think, propping it up. But any other token, and we've probably been a part of some of those communities in the past, as far as those community token communities. Like, you're getting crushed, man. If that happens, you're getting crushed, right? So all those people that went short, they made out for a little bit. There was a little dip, and when DDT gets up here, we'll have him take a look at Crow too on the charts. But what do you guys think about that?
Well, before the show, Billy, we were talking about how is that even possible if they tripled the supply, unless triple the buyers showed up, how did that price not move, first of all, negatively, and how has it gained any traction? And it seems to be that the rumor is that the tokens aren't unlocked yet. And so it's a trust me bro situation, to where they're going to be unlocked over the next 5 to 10 years. So they haven't hit the market straight up yet. So that could be part of why the price isn't moving yet, and we haven't seen much from the community yet.
Yeah, somebody was asking. Yeah, they just reminted. Hey, good to see you, Rocco, my man. Good to see you, Rocco. Yeah, it's still that just the news of that. Hey, we're going to be adding 70 billion to the supply. Yeah, and typically that would just devastate that. So it's been ranging between that 7.5 to 10 cent range, and it's up there today. I actually traded this last night, and I did well. I took a little long on it, and no, I scalped it. Alex O's been telling me I got to start scalping a little bit better or more often. So I said, all right, I'll jump in on a couple trades. But
and it seems like the Crow fam, I guess is what they call each other, is a little bit upset, because they didn't really want that to happen. They didn't want them to unburn all the tokens. They wanted it to be deflationary. They wanted the value to keep going up. But I think that 60% of the validators are owned by the Cronos or whoever it is, the CRO token. It's owned by them, so it's really not decentralized, and they're able to make decisions without the approval of the community. So I don't know in the long run if we are going to see an impact or not, but it seems pretty significant in what we think is crypto, that they're not listening to the community, and in fact, they're not as decentralized as what we thought they were. But then they have partnerships with people like Trump and his organization, the World Liberty Finance, and so you wonder which way is it going to lean, which way the scale's going to tip.
yeah, for sure. I'm trying to pull up. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty here. One of the things, like I have crypto.com, and I used to use it a lot, but after FTX collapsed, I started pulling a lot of stuff off these. Like, I had Binance US, FTX, crypto.com, and I started moving all that stuff around and getting it off there, and so I went back to my crypto.com account, and they've changed it all up quite significantly. I did like it. They had a little vault going on. You can collect your diamonds every day, and they really got into NFTs, but I don't like who they partner with. I don't think their NFTs have been as popular as they could have been, but they did seem to have a lot of integration going on before some of these other exchanges. Crypto.com app, it seemed like they did have a lot of integrations going on with other parts of the cryptoverse, not just trading, right? Not just coins. So of course they came out with that one of the first to come out with their their credit card. I do have the Ruby card from way back. Well, I say way back. What was that? 22, I think. And so I liked it as an exchange, but I always had a problem. That was back in the day. I think I started in 21. I can't remember, 21, 22, somewhere in there, because I remember that you could still use your credit card or debit card with crypto.com, where other exchanges like Coinbase started really pushing towards to connect your bank account. And so I was active for a while in the crypto.com, the Cronos ecosystem, and now I'm starting to come back to it a little bit. I've been impressed that they made it through the bear market. I was really worried back then in 22 that they wouldn't make it through the bear market with all the FTX stuff going on, and we all know what happened. It was just tough times. But it looks like they made it through and they come back a little stronger. So I hadn't personally paid attention. I did own the Crow token because back then you got perks and benefits by owning the Crow token with the card and in your wallet as well. I did get an NFT from them because you own the Crow token. You were on the exchange, but yeah, if the validators that voted for it are all basically insiders and they have this whole world liberty thing going on as well, which by the way, those two things happened at the same time, the world liberty conversation, the ETF, Crow Bitcoin ETF, and then the vote for the addition or to unburn the 70 billion. A little sus to me, man. Sounds a little sus to me. What do you think, Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't ever dabble with any of those tokens. You know that. I mean, but it does sound kind of. I mean, if I was in it, I wouldn't feel good about it.
But this kind of news it does make for good trading. You know, when you have some volatility, some movement. Because if you do look at the chart, it's pretty much since December. Oh, we actually got DDT here. Let's pull DDT.
And I have the chart up behind me, Billy. But you
Okay,
can see it's either flagging out or it's forming a big old head and shoulders.
Yeah, if you go to go to the daily, Dave. If you go to the daily and just scroll, zoom out so you can see since like December, you'll be able to see how this thing's just slowly come down since December. But it's actually up from what, May 24th, May 25th. It's actually up, which is crazy.
Yeah, so December would be back here ish, right there. It's December. And so since that day, they are
Somebody's
down
pounding. I hear a little doot, doot, doot.
70% ish from that date. And then if you want to look from the 25th, which is right here, that's when they got that big pump. So they were down all the way until that big pump, and now they're up.
DDT, what's going on, man? Let's pull up this Crow token. Let's take a look at it.
Evening. You caught me at the wrong time, just as I was taking coffee.
Oh, sorry, man.
Mark working. I did look at Crow for a little bit. Let me just quickly turn off the earpiece because that's not.
You might want to push it a little closer to your mouth, but it's working.
I can bring it up a bit. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
I can sit a bit closer. Okay, so why is Crow not loading? Well, it's obviously because it's just. So let's quickly go to the weekly. So yeah, obviously it's.
You got to share that, bro.
Sorry, too late.
That's all right.
Would. Okay, it should be shared now. So, what Crow's basically done, I think this was that was just the bear market. Yeah, this was the pump out of the bear market. But when I think it was out of here in February 21 is kind of when it got listed on Binance and obviously started its run up to $1, give or take, or 70 cents. So this was all exchange listing in the last bull run. Binance, I think Coinbase, and a few other people listed it. KuCoin, but for the most part, it's had this.
I don't
bear
think you
market.
can buy it on Coinbase though. I don't think you
Oh,
can buy it over
Sorry,
there yet.
I might be wrong, but
It's,
yeah, it got like literally its perpetual
Yeah,
cut
yeah.
in the last bull market was basically all either onboarding to crypto.com or it was the exchange listings basically.
Yeah, MEXCs and
Yeah. So trading basically, increased
Trading,
volume,
right.
increased volume, increased price basically in the bull run. So we have this from last run. That's the bear market range where it came down to in the weeklies, but it seems to find and always find support in this zone here. So between like I think you said 7 cents to 10 cents, 7 to 9 cents, give or take.
Yeah.
And this is on the weekly chart, so it's quite far zoomed out. At this point, obviously it's had the pump because of this. Pump with Liberty, the partnership there, but also as well, same like most altcoins, it's been ridiculously. If you're looking now, market cycle B, it's ridiculously oversold. So it's not that it wasn't due a pump, but also something's just on pumping, give or take. So what it's done now is it's literally just come back. There's obviously the small range here. It's just come back in and it's kind of respecting those levels. So when you see where it bounced, it literally bounced with this POC in this value area low between say 7.3 and 7.8 cents. It's currently just about 10 cents. And kind of from where it is now, I was looking at like the daily and then going back. I've obviously marked up the level, so I'm not really going to. It's starting to get a bit kind of overbought. Obviously, it's had this weekly pump this week. So if I'm thinking it's going to come down and if it's going to find support, it's going to find support on this previous value area. I have a local golden pocket, which I just pulled from this low on Wednesday, the 12th of March to kind of the current high, kind of this little price action here. Money flow on the daily was starting to come up this week, but that's expected as something pumps. Obviously, it will pull the money flow up with it. And then, yeah, like also as well, leading into the pump, kind of always a good sign, a good factor is when the money flow on the 4 hour. That's kind of always my bearing for kind of good sustained moves up. If the money flow is green on the red hour, you should be good for green on the 4 hours. Sorry, you should be good for longs. So seeing this is still green and coming up, it's not really taken a tank with Bitcoin. So it's kind of an anomaly at this point because of the news. If you were looking to trade it, probably your best level to come back into would either be this 8.8 cents value area high, and obviously the local golden pocket. If it further extends over, obviously you've got the POC below it at 7.8 cents. So, but because of the way money flow is trending up, and obviously 8 hours green, 10 hours green, 12 hours green. So it looks as if this may be a sustained move. Obviously, it can drop, but it could also be the anomaly to the rule at the moment with not following Bitcoin, because obviously the coin's now getting hyped, the Crow token, because of obviously the partnership. So yeah, that's probably where it's at. Let me just quickly, any other thing I would really look at is, let me hide the drawings and look at the EMAs. And then, yeah, it's above the 50 EMA. I think it's above the 50 EMA on the daily, is it? Yeah. It's fairly bullish. It's rejecting the 200 EMA on the daily, but it's above the 50 EMA on the daily, which is kind of decent. It'll probably still, but it's rejecting the. So yeah, once it gets above basically 10 cents or 11 cents, it's probably, you can just see it's just been red candles literally all the way down on the weeklies. If I just flip back, turn this off, probably Crow, yeah, it's got obviously flip 10 to 11 cents of support. But I think, if it flips, there are some resistances above us between 12 and like 13 cents. But it flips that, kind of your next key biggest resistance is 15 cents. So it's got work to do, but just if it gets to there, that 17% to that value area low, to that next value area. So yeah, it's looking a lot better than most. And
Do you think it's likely to retest those highs?
Yeah, I think it's going to come down. It will come back down for these vectors, I think. But it makes sense. Obviously, just with the rules of the volume profiles, when it breaks out of value area, you would expect it to retest at least the value area high. It didn't, just broke and went. Although it doesn't necessarily have to. I've got a local range here as well. Sorry, I didn't put on. But locally, it could. But obviously, with these vectors, there's going to be a volume gap here now as well. So just below that will probably be a volume gap. So if it loses basically 9.5 cents, it will come down quickly to that value area high. So your options are holds 9.8, 9.9 cents, value area low, the local one, or otherwise it's going to come down to, but it's just literally between, so it's a higher time frame profile below, a higher time frame profile above, and a local profile in the middle. You could think about it like the burger and the buns, like Alex always says. It's you would prefer for it to come down, but also as well, what's the 4 hour looking like? Yeah, I would want a 4 hour divergence. You never even really got a 4 hour divergence kind of out of this. It just heats it straight up. I want some form of sign of strength on market alpha B to show me that its low is in, which for me is a 4 hour bull div. So, and that could set itself up, but it'll probably wick into, yeah. So it'll probably wick and bounce. That's the best case with the 4 hour divergence, and obviously your candle close will have to be bought up quite quickly for it to work out. But that, for the most part, is what I'll be looking at Crow. Do you guys want to flip back to any other agendas?
Yeah, let's. With the conversation with Crow, you guys read anything to add? Just generally speaking about the conversation with Crow.
I mean, my biggest thing is, you know, when I'm looking to sell as a holder, right? When I'm looking to sell a coin other than price action, one of those is the change in tokenomics. So if the tokenomics change for the coin, if the fundamentals change for that coin, I'm looking to sell that coin, and we're not seeing that with Crow. We're seeing it go up. So even though they're adding so much more to the max supply, which is interesting, very interesting.
It just depends how they do that. Have they said? Because I would just, based on what I was looking at and seeing, and what's kind of being communicated, is that it will go back into like an escrow, but it is going to get into supply eventually, into the circulating supply. But they'll remint, put that into escrow, and then obviously dilute and put that back into circulating supply, kind of a bit staggered. So it still makes it inflationary, but also as well, it's still, there's kind of some form of safety in the sense that it's just not, let's just add 70 billion coins or whatever it is back into kind of all at once. So there is a the way that they're doing it, if that's the case, is good. If they're just going to put it all, but yeah, from what I heard, they're going back into an escrow first, or going into like a holding wallet before they start kind of slowly releasing more supply.
Well, they're calling it a reissue. The December decision on March 24th, 2025, to reissue 70 billion Crow tokens, reversing a 2021 burn that reduced the total supply to just 30 billion, has ignited a governance crisis with the Cronos system. This move, approved by Crypto.com validators, contradicts the community's long-standing push for a deflationary tokenomics model, which, yeah, I to your point there, DDT, it really doesn't go into how they're going to add that back in to the supply, but I still, in the short term, with most news like that, FUD like that, you just don't see a bump. So there's something else going on. Now, of course, we understand that the Bitcoin Crow ETF is, the Trump Media Partnership announced on March 24th, same day, to launch ETFs featuring Bitcoin and Crow, has been a little bit overshadowed by the token's reissuance controversy. It's a little less publicized on X, but they did do that.
Billy, if I could,
there-
just one
go ahead.
second. I think too is, Cronos was cleared from all their SEC charges. So that's another positive, right? That's another arrow in there. And I think that is helping them reallocate resources to other things like marketing and some other stuff. Actually, it could have a growth effect like XRP had. Remember when XRP got fully cleared from their charges? XRP went up. It gained a couple 100%. So I think we're kind of seeing the slow beginnings of that, and I think people will start trusting Cronos again and start buying again. But this adding to the tokenomics or the max supplies is something to think about. Even if they're going to slow,
absolutely.
Even if they're going to slow reissue those tokens, still at the end of the day, in a couple of years or 5 years, they're still going to have that 70 million sitting in there in the max supply. 70 billion.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it on the head too, Billy, earlier whenever you were talking about the way that you've used Cronos and that you used it and you held it for lower fees, or you held it for different rewards on the chain. And maybe that's what a lot of folks are doing. Maybe that's why we didn't see such a decline, is because it actually is used by all the people over there. Instead of people aren't really speculating on it. Maybe it's not a speculation token. Maybe it is just a utility token with the actual utility, and people use it, and so they didn't sell it off.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I didn't like about it was, the whole credit card piece. I mean, I'm to the point where I'd prefer to not use a credit card, right? I want to be like either Mexi or Coinbase or something like that. But I don't know. It seems like every time I try to buy, there's always a complication. Unless you just are sending it from like Coinbase to your wallet, your crypto.com wallet. But yeah, somebody did say Crow is on Coinbase. Yes, it is on Coinbase. I just checked it out to make sure, because it used to not be on Coinbase. I couldn't buy Crow on Coinbase, right? So it is now on Coinbase. That was the other thing. You had to go to either crypto.com back when it was launched, or Mexi, or what was the other one? Gate.io I used back in those days. And what was that other exchange that we used to all trade on over in Korea? Haven't been there because they.
KuCoin.
What was it? KuCoin. Yeah, KuCoin. I used KuCoin a lot. I used to like using KuCoin to trade on, right? But then when they came up with
was easy on.
It was easy.
KuCoin.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. When they shut the U.S. down, I was so bummed out, man.
But Billy, another layer to this onion is the community voted to not do the reissuance, and yet they did it anyways.
Well, the validators said yes.
And they did it anyways, yeah. So
Yeah.
they're just not paying attention to their own governance, or they're more centralized than we think they are.
That whole
In my
centralization piece is crazy. Yeah. Go
A
ahead.
centralized exchange token is not decentralized in any way. I think that should be the strapline, or that should be the kind of the consensus that everyone should agree on here.
FTX.
That's right.
Yeah. So basically, them doing what they're doing is reasonable, considering it's not really a decentralized token.
Yeah, a fair point. Fair point. Absolutely. All right, let's say hi to chat real quick, then we'll hit Bitcoin, do a little chart analysis on Bitcoin. So BC Port, good to see you. Rusty Bot, can't wait to get to our guys. We need I don't know, what was it? We're about 900 hours short. We're going to keep streaming, and then we hit the threshold to be able to get our first emoji, and that first emoji is going to be the WD-40 can for the Rusty Bot. Got to keep him nice and oiled up there. Good to see you. Let's see who else we have in here. My neighbor's in here. Melissa's in here. Good to see you, Jay Violet. always good to see you. I know I'm missing somebody. We said wife Richard Berry, good to see you. Our local trading comedian. We have a trading poet in Wick, and now we have a trading comedian in Richard. That's always good. And Karen, good to see you, Karen. Say hi to your hubby for me. Appreciate you. Mike Vollmer's in here. Good to see you. Appreciate you. And K Dig, always good to see you. And of course, our like police, Jesse, our like police. Trade Intuition, good to see you. Wayne C, good to see you. Let's see. I think that's
And
it. Did I miss any?
shout out to the like police. Let's just say that because we have 28 live and it looks like we have 38 likes. So
Oh,
that's where
like
that at.
police is working. Jesse's
Yeah.
on it like a bonnet. All right, DDT, let's hit some Bitcoin real quick. Could somebody bring that up? Let's see.
I think my charts are still shared. Just need
There you
Jenny's to
go.
come up. All right.
you go.
So our opium case for the week was the drawings. Our opium case for the week was this 6-day green dot, which we kind of had in the middle of this week, and obviously we've dumped. So the six-day green dot has unprinted. Obviously, we're waiting on this weekly as well on Market Sotheby weekly green dot, but kind of the VWAP on Market Sotheby is rolling over. Weekly candle, it's basically like what we call a railway track, basically like for like. Basically, two similar candles, one bullish week, one bearish week, basically the same, open and close at the same point, kind of just sit next to each other. So for the daily, obviously we still got daily money flow red. The market cycle B wave has crossed over the zero line on the daily, so generally we could be looking for more downside. Going into this week, what happened was so where we was this sorry, so we rejected 87 88k, which was this big pull from there to there. So that's kind of the zone, the 88 to 88.6 or 88.7. Just pulled from, I pulled this on the 4 hour, but there's daily candles as well. You can go back to daily candles and actually look at it. So yeah, it's pulled from the top of the 2nd of March to the low of the 11th of March. So that's been resistance, and it's just been wicking up there and rejecting. So let me just turn that off. So where do I think we're going? Obviously, we have a local profile that we've been trading in here for this week, or since about the 9th, which is 2-3 weeks. So I've just pulled this across. I've not extended it all the way, just kind of was what I was looking at. Like you could, but it'll bring the levels up. At this point, we had 4 hour money flow across red. We've come down. What I did have as well, which Frankie probably had shown as well in his streams, we had an anchored VWAP from the bottom here, which obviously was kind of the key support all the way up. We broke that. We back bearishly retested it and dropped down. Basically, from where we were at as well on Friday, we rejected the POC of the range at like 84k. Kind of a few rejections, kind of just ping-ponging on the POC. Come down. Also as well, at that point, when we lost the POC, we had the money flow on the 4 hour across red, which for me now says favor shorts for the time being. But this is looking like it wants to set up a 4 hour bullish divergence. So it's going to need to close. Kind of my levels that I'm looking for at this point is just this. Obviously, it could go lower, but I think local bounce. We have a we have a local golden pocket on like 80. What's this? From like 80,000 up to. We have some levels up to 80. So 80 to 8,800. Sorry. Yeah, so 80,000 up to 80,800, and kind of you have the previous week low at 81,000. So that's kind of where I'm looking probably for the next bounce, because the bounces haven't been all that strong at this point. And yeah, that's basically Bitcoin for now. Obviously, I have levels at like 76k, 74k. Obviously, we could take out this low as well. So we just got to watch. I think, obviously, now with tariffs day on Tuesday, or Wednesday, tariffs. Maybe hopefully we start getting some clarity. And you can already see that some of the markets are, well, not some of the markets, some of the countries that tariff the US are already kind of folding and kind of making deals. So the EU's already kind of lapsed some things and kind of taken or lowered some of their tariffs and those type of things. So yeah, I think probably we're still going to cool off into tomorrow, I presume, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, we should have more clarity, and then that will be the rest of the direction for the week. But for the most part, yeah, like 80 to 81K is kind of where I'm seeing a bounce for now. I presume we've probably got 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour's dumping, 30 minutes got to trigger wave to the downside. So yeah, it's looking, and also as well, sorry, futures open and futures came in hot. So futures has come in at 40 minutes ago, kind of just as we started the stream, and they've literally been selling off. Let me just see what's happening on. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see all four charts. So the far right one is the Binance spots. Yeah, you can see they're stacking, like, but they can spoof. But for the most part, the bulk of the birds are stacked between like 78 and 81,000, basically coming into a really hot spot of liquidities, or kind of spot buying or purpose limits orders. So yeah, that's basically, yeah, Bitcoin. Not really too much more to share. Obviously, it's still not looking good until we got this clarity this week as to what all these tariffs are going to do. And obviously, other markets, traditional markets, stock market, NASDAQ, also not really reacting nicely to all the kind of bad news at this point. Kind of the sporadicness of kind of, I'll give you a tariff today, no tariff tomorrow. That, yeah, markets want certainty. So that's kind of what's kind of happening at this point. So yeah, that's Bitcoin. But yeah, just waiting to see. Yeah, probably looking for that 80 to 81K long, just see what happens there. Otherwise, if not, like 76 to 78 is probably the next level. It's kind of little zone there where we could probably get a decent bounce again.
5-card poker, deuce is wild. No, 5-card poker, threes are wild. No, 5-card poker, nothing wild. That's today. It changes. Hey, Redman, Dave Digital. Let's do what Redman was trying to do at the front of the show. He's like a little kid in the candy shop. Let's.
You ready, Red?
I've been talking all week on it. Yeah, let's go.
That's our little trailer promo. Red's been running around the circuit on a lot of YouTube shows talking about the book and what we got going on. So go ahead, Red. Lay it on us, man. Tell us how's everything going?
Yeah. So the tricky wolf and the wise boy. And the wolf is tricky because, you know, he's the one that's trying to pull the wool over your eyes and put fake coins out there so he could rug on you. And Jack is the main character in the book. He's the wise boy, and he's the one that does his research. He's the one that knows the ins and outs of the crypto scene. And he was able to save the village from losing their wealth. So it's wealth preservation. This book is for any of the ages between 4 and 14 years old. So this book I envisioned this book being like, you know, a bedtime story to tell your kids before they go to bed, teach them about Bitcoin, teach them about the more important things in our crypto space, like security and research and knowing what you're investing in and making the right decisions, so that when they do come of investment age, whatever age that is, they can make the right decisions and they don't have to lose money like we have done so many times in the crypto casino.
Yeah. And so the whole premise for we here at Billy Goat Tales is to ensure that we keep everyone safe, and especially as we have mass adoption, which we've all seen this year and last year, that as we get these new people coming in, that we ensure that we begin with the children and keep them learning about crypto, excited about crypto, but absolutely keep them safe with all these concepts that we're trying to teach at Billy Goat Tales. So we're excited. We do have Jimmy Jim will be creating the third Billy Goat Tales story. So we'll be working on that, and that's hopefully we're going to put it out there for like Q1 of next year. And we will be doing a live stream on Christmas Eve again with Miss Teen Crypto, as she will be reading Red's story Christmas Eve. That was fun last year. That's going to be a tradition for us. Let's see. And also we want to make sure that everyone knows if you're at the Bitcoin conference and you have a copy of the book, like there, Alex O, bring it with you. Get a picture of us with the book, and we'll put your name on the wheel for either one of our limited edition Billy Goat Tail socks or something else that we'll come up with. But we definitely, if you're going to Bitcoin conference, bring it with you. Get a picture with us with the book. And if you don't happen to have the book, I'll slide this in. We'll probably have a couple copies of it. I don't know that we'll be carrying around. We probably will, though. We'll take a picture. Let us know. Come up and see us anyway. Say hi to us. We want to meet everybody. That's to me, the most exciting part about the Bitcoin conference is meeting and greeting everyone. So, yep, there's old Alex O with his copy there.
Big
It's
shout
awesome.
out to Alex O.
Yeah, Alex, full-time giver's gain, no doubt about it. The other big story we have today, the whole USD1 stable coin. So this is pretty interesting, right? Because we have USDC, we have USDT, and now we have this USD1. And of course, what's interesting about it, kind of like the Cronos piece, is who's involved. USD1 is a US dollar pegged stablecoin launched by World Liberty Financial, a DeFi project backed by President Donald Trump and his family. It operates on Ethereum and BNB chain with a circulating supply of 500 million tokens as of March 2025. So we have this new stable, and World Liberty is right in the middle of it again. Interesting. What are you thinking, Jimmy? What's your thoughts on that?
None of that gives me a warm and fuzzy feeling. None of it. I mean, what's he even being backed by? The government?
Well, it's treasuries. So it's 1-to-1 backed by T-bills, treasuries.
It's actually backed by Trust Me, bro, is what I've kind of read. Like, so they
By
don't.
what?
Right.
It's
Sounds
backed by
some
Trust Me, bro.
stuff.
Yeah. So it gives off. I mean, because they don't want to share what third party did their audits, and so there's no public record of any audit that proves the stablecoin backing.
I mean, it could work, but I don't like it. I don't like the players in it.
They say it's non-algorithmic, so I mean, I guess we're not supposed to have fears that we're going to get the same result as we had with Terra Luna.
Yeah, it says USD1 is backed 1-to-1 by short-term U.S. government treasuries, dollar deposits, and cash equivalents, with regular third-party audits. The lack of specifics about the auditing firm, though, is sparked a little skepticism. So, like USDC, they use Grant Thornton as their auditor, and they announce them by name. They have not announced their auditor by name. It's not that they haven't had audit. They're having audits, but it's saying that they just haven't announced who the auditor was or is. And the audits will be regular third-party audits. So regular, what does that mean? Every quarter, every half a year? I don't know. But
I mean,
Yeah,
it
I
sounds
mean,
like it leads to Jimmy's point. I mean, it sounds like it leads to trust me, bro. I mean, because crypto is all about transparency, right? We want to know
yeah,
who did your numbers and what the numbers are, right? We want to know what's making it move behind the scenes. That doesn't mean that he's not going to capture a huge market cap. Because didn't we have this problem with Tether for a long time?
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think this is a hawk to a girl situation though.
You would think not, but let's look at Trump. What are we at on Trump? $12?
There's definitely some tuas getting hawked. I can tell you that.
I don't think they'll rug it, but I think because of the World Liberty 5, they're going to build an app, we're going to build an ecosystem where you can trade on. That will be obviously the onboarding to then obviously. So you could probably transfer in kind of from another exchange or wallet or whatever. But if you want to onboard straight from dollars, you would do that to USD1, I would believe. From what I understand, that's kind of
Yeah.
that would be the mechanism for the trading side of whatever they're building, kind of app
Right.
or
Right.
or for
And it's
for
Ethereum right
institutions or
now
whoever's
too,
gonna use it.
DDT. It's just Ethereum. There's no layer 2 for it yet, you know. So it's a Ethereum.
Yeah, and they did a test launch too, and they had $50 transaction fees on the higher transactions. So there is some skepticism there about the scalability of it. You know,
The
will it work
fees.
on a bigger?
I don't know how they're doing it with the fees with the Ethereum, right? So they need to get a layer 2 involved. I mean, hey, look, it's just starting. I'm sure they got enough smart people there to know what their needs are and strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I understand, but yeah, they're definitely going to need a layer 2 scalability, just because the fees like eat you up, right? So even on Coinbase right now, like I had to transfer so you onload cash, US dollars, and then you gotta get USDC or USDT, and when you convert, there's a fee to convert and a fee to send. There's a fee to send, right? So when you send it, say I send it from Coinbase to MEXC, even though I'm using Coinbase One, tell you, oh, you're saving $19.29 or whatever. Still, there's a fee there. It's pretty significant too when you try to convert to USDT and send, say, $1,500. Well, of that $1,500, you're going to get like $1,400. So it's pretty significant. I just like it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with these fees with the stables. Hopefully they can come up with something. They need to integrate a layer 2 for sure, whether that
Yeah,
be
well,
Arbitrum or Optimism or something.
yeah, and on the
Well,
other hand, it's super smart. If he is successful, I mean, stable coins are the biggest market caps out there. You know, they're huge. You know, both USDC and USDT are huge market cap. So it's not like he's just being dumb. I mean, that is smart. If you can do it right, it's a good business to be in, and that's proven by our two major ones.
Yeah, and Tether did the right thing by buying Bitcoin. But Tether for the longest time, everybody was like, I mean, how much are they fudging their numbers? Which I haven't really heard any FUD on that lately, but I guess it's been all but forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, when there's stablecoin wars again, USDC and USDT will get some fight. It always comes around at least once a year.
Yeah.
But also as well, sorry, something I want to add is they need to have fees, but obviously exorbitant to obviously pay kind of maintenance of their protocol or whatever they're building. But the exorbitancy of the fees is probably a bit too much at this point. But yeah, have a scaling solution so that it can bring the fees down, as Billy was saying.
Well, if that's the case, all they got to do is just latch it onto Base, and that takes care of the fee problem.
Make their coin cross chain basically. That USD1 make it cross chain on tier to limit the fees.
Yeah.
See Alex O in the chat. Jimmy, you got the Alex. We had a picture of you up here earlier. I don't know if you were in here. I don't know who on our team had that queued up. If that was you, Dave, or
What was it? Oh, the Alex. Oh, yeah. I'll pull it
yeah,
up
That
right
was
now.
Dave.
that was
Just
that
one
Dave.
second. Yeah, I'll get it.
Yeah, we had that. There he is.
Alexo Crypto.
Grito. Gang.
Yeah, man. Hey, appreciate you
Am I in
buying that
trouble?
book. I can't wait to see you read it.
If I know Alex, he probably already has.
What'd you think of the book, Alex? Let's see if he replies.
And there's another. I
It's
mean,
fun to read.
so they haven't even released the that USD1 out to the public yet, but there's already fake USD1 coins. So CZ issued a warning like, "Hey, be careful. These aren't even supposedly live yet, and you guys are out here trading this USD1, or you out here using it or buying it up or whatever." So I mean, it does. I mean, they haven't crossed all the T's or dotted all the I's for sure. It seems like there's still a lot of issues that they're going to have to get through in the background. But with something so big, I mean, that just makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you got like you said, it's not like they don't know what they got. They got a lot of good people, smart Bitcoin, crypto, blockchain people. I mean, look at everything World Liberty is doing. I mean, it is crazy. It does bring into question, I don't want to go down the political rails on Billy Goat Tales. It really doesn't matter to me which way you vote or anything like that. That's yours. That's yours, not mine. So do whatever you want, and I still love you. It does not matter. However, it is unique times in that we Trump was not a politician until he ran the first time, right? He certainly didn't come out of the politician pool for demeanor and rapport with like we have been used to in our country. But he's been a businessman. That's we all know, and it's interesting because when these big whales guys get into a given technology, there's a reason they're coming into that technology. It's an emerging market, right? There's a region. There's always been an emerging market of some kind, whether it's oil and gas or whether it's technology or whether it's leisure and travel. There's always something that it turns the tide, and the big whales get in early and they see it earlier, and they have all the data, all the reports, they have all the people, and it's interesting that he's going so long, truly going long, like he said at the national conference on blockchain. And on one hand, I feel because I'm biased, right? I want our leader to be pro crypto, right? I'm biased. I admit that, right? I want him to be pro crypto. I want him to. The more they understand, the better it is for all of us, right? On the other hand, it's kind of unusual to have, typically there's a hiatus, if you have these other organizations, you're really not too involved as the president. And he does have people in place. I'm not saying he's actually pulling the levers, but it's kind of a strange, different times, certainly strange, different times right now. However, in the end, it's pro crypto, it's pro Bitcoin, and my bias makes me like it. My bias makes me like it. If I had nothing to do with crypto, there's no doubt in my mind I would be sitting out there and saying, there it is again, man. All the big money, trying to get in early and making money off the other people. There's no doubt I'd be thinking that, but my bias prevents me from thinking that way right now, and I admit that.
Yeah, and I think you make a valid point because I don't think he really does understand it that much. I think he's starting to learn. I think he's
Yeah.
really he trusts this core group of people that whoever it is that he's talking to, he really trusts them. And so he puts it all out there on that trust, I think. I don't think he doesn't understand it like we wish that maybe he would. I think he will eventually, but I don't think that he does. I think you
Well,
make
he
a valid
said
point.
he said in interviews that Barron has a lot to do with his decision making on the crypto side, and he said that Barron can do anything with a computer, And so it kind of leads you to believe that Barron is kind of the one pulling the strings behind, as far as the processes for these, World Liberty Financial and USD1. Barron is kind of pulling the strings because he knows how to. And so we'll see if that's the truth or not. Only time will tell. But they're making a splash, man. They're coming at this 100 miles an hour, and now's the time to do it, to take advantage of all the hype surrounding crypto and regulation right now. So
as we look forward to the monarchy of Baron Trump as king.
Yeah, I don't know that
Emperor.
he's pulling the strings. He's probably influencing his dad and the people because he is so savvy. But yeah, man, I mean, it's interesting.
I thought Eric had quite a big deal with the quite a big influence in the whole World Liberty Finance as well. He's like he's like the big player there at the moment, kind of the big boss.
But I think too, in Trump's defense, I mean, if you raise your kids like Trump obviously has raised his children, to where at least in the appearance they have pretty successful. They have good ambition, they're good people, all the things that you want out of a kid. He's raised his kids that way, so you just assume that he trusts them too. And Barron's not a baby anymore. I mean, he gets a lot of things. I mean, we have players in the crypto industry that at a young age they become devs. So it's not unheard of that Barron could very well know crypto in and out.
I want to see Barron meet Crypto Crow because they're isn't Barron like 6'7" or something, real tall,
I think
dude?
He's 7+. I think.
Is he 7 now?
Very tall.
It's Emperor Barron. Emperor Barron is.
Yeah, I'd like to see him and Crow standing beside each other. That'd be cool.
2 feet taller than Trump.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Well, Dave, you ready? You see private chat? Let's get into let's talk a little bit about our lake house giveaway. There it is. So reminder just for everybody, if you own one of our NFTs that has the Easter egg, we're going to give away a trip. All you have to do is get to South Carolina. Everything else, we pick you up from the airport. We're staying in the lake house. We're going to do some barbecuing. We're going to go out on the lake. We're going to fall for Greenville, which is what Jimmy likes me to say, a foodie event. But there's 100 restaurants that come out in the streets there. You get to try and sample all their food. There's 4 or 5 stages, different music. There's a beer garden. We'll be doing that one day as well. And again, all you have to do is hold our NFT. If you don't have our NFT, you just go to our website, www.billygotails.io. Go right up there and you'll see a little button to mint our NFTs. You mint it. It costs 25 ADA. That's it. And you hope that you get one with the Easter egg in the metadata. And if you do, we are going to put your name on the wheel. And we're going to be making that, pulling that on April 15th. We are going to be pulling the winner for the trip. The trip is October, as you saw that little graphic there. So that gives you plenty of time to plan. But it's all inclusive. Just we're not certain where everybody lives, so you just got to get there, and we do the rest. And we take you back to the airport, so you don't need anything. Just we got you covered. Place to sleep, nice bed. I've been there. I've stayed there several times. There in the lake house, so really nice place, really cool. And we look forward to meeting some lucky winner. We want to see some lucky winner, and we're going to do this every single year. So that just encourages everybody to hold on to that NFT because it's going to have ongoing value as Billy Goat Tales grows, and everything that we do, our NFT is going to be a part of it. So with that, what else we got going on? What was the next thing that we were going to talk about, Dave Digital? I think we were going to GameStop.
The horse that won't die.
You like that one, huh, Jimmy?
That
The
company,
horse,
I swear.
huh?
I said that company, I swear, it won't die.
Well, it looks like they're taking the MicroStrategy playbook and putting it into effect. So if I'm researching it right, they've taken 20-ish%, maybe a little bit less than that, and bought Bitcoin with it. And from what I was reading, that they have not a total actual liquidation, but once it gets to that 60, if Bitcoin gets down to 65K, then they could be into a little bit of trouble keeping up with their obligations.
$1.3 billion Bitcoin investment in March. March was an active month for a lot of moves, right? I mean, they 1.3 billion Bitcoin investment, and the stock dropped like 25% afterwards. Like you're saying, Jimmy, the horse that won't die. It's so interesting. You just gotta wonder their earnings have been down quarter after quarter, it seems, and the business model in it of itself, retail brick and mortar, it's kind of gotten beat up from the feet up, right? But here in the midst of all this, they decide to pivot and take the micro strategy or strategy now, a path to maybe saving themselves, because Michael Saylor has admitted they were up against a brick wall. He's trying to compete with the big dogs, and he didn't know his next move. And out of just trying to figure out what to do is when he found Bitcoin, and it worked out for him. Are they up against the brick wall too, and hoping that the same result happens to them?
Bitcoin's either the savior
Well,
or the downfall, in my view, because obviously they're raising money. So obviously they're selling shares and devaluing their company on the basis that they're backing Bitcoin to kind of put on the balance sheet to make their companies more valuable. So it's not necessarily the best thing. But because GME, I was saying to guys in Frankie's Discord earlier on this week when it was announced, they should rather GME sit on profit and sit on good earnings per share currently. Or I don't know, someone had quoted something, and I was like, why don't they just take it out their profit? Obviously, they want the free money glitch, and that's the problem. You become, unfortunately, MicroStrategy or strategies become a Ponzi because of the infinite money glitch, right? And GME is probably going to hit that route. And also, as well, there's someone did post something that I saw as soon as GME announced that they were going to start kind of doing the same thing what Michael Saylor was doing, the strategy and kind of the way that they buy their Bitcoin, like a huge amount of put options. Like literally and also as well, the amount of put options on strategy or MicroStrategy at the moment is ridiculous. So like there's these all kind of just savvy traders are now, they know that prices dropped. I think GME has already dropped a few percent. It sold off quite a bit, kind of literally soon after that.
25%, yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, their price to or their debt to equity ratio rose to 0.45, and that's up from 0.30 according to Yahoo Finance. And it says less publicized is the interest rate on these notes, estimated at 4.5% annually, meaning GameStop will owe approximately 58 million in interest payments in 2025 alone. So if Bitcoin drops significantly, say to 65,000, as some analysts, as you know, there's all kinds of prediction of where it's going to go, right? GameStop will probably struggle to service that debt. And so I don't know. It's also, I mean, Saylor always buys the tops, and it really hasn't hurt him over the big picture. It really hasn't hurt him. So again, I'm kind of torn on this. Like anybody, any company, any state, any nation that is using Bitcoin as a reserve, adopting that policy, I have a bias, and that bias is I like that. I think it helps us all, right? On the other side of the thought process, if I wasn't a part of crypto, wasn't a part of Bitcoin, I would be looking at them and saying, "You guys are fools," you know. So it's a tough one. I mean, because of the bias, right? It's just like I like it. I hope it works for them. I hope nothing but success for them. I hope it's another proof case. I really do. It'd be good for all of us if this turns out to be a mini strategy in my mind, because I think it continues to show the proof of work of Bitcoin, proof of value, store of value. You know,
Someone just said in the chat, it was A1. He was just saying that GME was sitting on about 4 billion of cash from what he read, and also RustyBot had said something as well, because MicroStrategy initially was sitting on a pile of cash, and that's kind of what I thought was going to happen until I heard now, obviously, that they're going the same route as Strategy. So kind of other companies that put Bitcoin on their balance sheet, they actually use it from profit. They use it from profit rather than or cash reserves, rather than actually devaluing your company and kind of issuing shares to actually fund it. So that for me has a way stronger outlook on companies if they do that, rather than it's like we're putting our money where our mouth is, our actual own money, rather than, okay, let's sell some shares to people to kind of raise.
yeah.
So
And then Billy,
I think investors see the strategy. Oh, I don't know. I call it a Ponzi. So I'm very kind of strong-worded about it. I don't think it's going to survive. But like a company like GameStop sitting on a lot of cash, why would they want to? Obviously, they don't want to use the cash. They may need the cash for investment. Obviously, it's like you said, the debt to equity is quite high, or kind of obviously it's a lot. So they've got debt repayments. So maybe that's why they'll just keep those cash reserves. But for the most part, yeah, I would, if a company is profitable enough, I would rather go the route of going with the profit kind of split, or kind of cash. Maybe if it's 20% of profit every year or something like that type of thing works better than kind of devaluing your company just for the sake of having Bitcoin.
yeah, you have to ask yourself, is 5% allocation, is that conservative or is that liberal? I think it's pretty conservative. Just 5% is not much. And on top of that, I believe they're trying to get in before everybody else does, before the states and before the United States government starts buying, because we already know China's buying. But I think they kind of rushed to get in before the real supply crunch comes, and it's coming.
But
so
this is the thing as well. Like, obviously, we're in a bull market and this type of thing. And why is Bitcoin's price going up? Like, where's this? Like, it's me being contrarian. But if we're saying that all these countries are buying and there's such this big,
I can't understand it either.
There's this big hype around Bitcoin. Yet we have the FUD and we have the market going down now, right? Essentially, if we were in a kind of proper bull market, we would just be up only, and you would have nation states also blasting the top like Sailor does. Which you're not really seeing.
I still believe Bitcoin is a flight to safety. I still believe it's a hedge against inflation. I still believe it's a great store of value. Why would you not want to have that on your sheets, your balance sheets? I'm seeing more and more institutions come into Bitcoin. I'm seeing more yeah, the price isn't reflecting that, but just give it a little bit of time. When we were at the Bitcoin conference last year, I asked the expert, one of the ETF experts, about why aren't we seeing $10 trillion come into Bitcoin because of this ETF? You know what he told me? Wait, just wait. It's coming.
I think as well, when gold,
if you have a little bit of patience, it'll be there.
I think when gold gets its blow off top, that will probably be the reinvestment back into Bitcoin. Because obviously, did we speak about it a while ago that China was buying a hell of a lot of gold, and kind of some of these other states, or Saudi, they're investing heavily in gold for now, obviously, because the kind of world financial climate at this point has some uncertainty to it, with some countries probably looking to go into recession. So obviously gold is like up only. And I think the diversement, or the kind of my theory now is that obviously gold will hit a blow off top. When gold hits a blow off top, the profit from the gold trades or the gold blow off top will then filter down into kind of, hypothetically, in brackets, next type asset, which will be Bitcoin. But at that point, obviously, with gold going up, everything else goes down because gold is the flight to safety for now. So yeah, I think we're probably a good few months away. But when gold has the blow off top, that's probably where you'd find a lot more money will kind of diversify out of gold. And obviously, it could be paper gold, it could be actually bars back into Bitcoin.
Now we're going to
Billy,
have to listen to Peter Schiff, because it set a new all-time high. Gold did. So that dude just goes
Billy,
on and on.
Do you think we'll have mortgage-backed securities in Bitcoin tagged to Bitcoin?
Oh, absolutely. That is definitely in my mind coming. Absolutely. Fannie Mae, the whole story, I think I told it once, right? So I used to trade Fannie Mae a lot. It really was degen into Fannie Mae because of the 2008 housing crisis, right? So Fannie Mae was trading for a long time in the $35 range. And then, of course, 08 happened, and the government had to step in and bail them all out, including, not just the banks, but also Fannie Mae. The government never released. So the government was sweeping all their profits every year back to the government. The idea was once it was paid off, the bailout money to Fannie Mae, once it's paid off, then they would release those profits, and they never did, right? So year after year, all that money was paid back by Fannie Mae from their profits, and they never released it. And so it kept that stock. It went all the way from like 35 down to like 50 cents. It's a buck. It stayed at a buck for a long time, right around the buck range, right? So to your question, the Fannie Mae's back. It's a quasi governmental company. Fannie Mae is, and Trump is talking about privatizing it. And there's just last week more talks about that. Truly make it a standalone privatized institution, just like a bank would be, just like Wells Fargo would be, right? And they specialize in mortgage-backed securities. I think when you do unhinge Fannie Mae from being a quasi-government entity, I think it opens up that door for those decision makers and other banks to utilize Bitcoin, because as we're seeing in the news, we know this, other banks are starting to, like we just saw the news last week, that you don't need government approval to accept Bitcoin anymore to open up these accounts for Bitcoin. That was on the news. So as that frees up, I think it just becomes easier and easier, and those products start rolling out, right? Those products start rolling out. I don't think we're going to see that this year, but I think we'll see it probably in the next 4 years. In the next 4 years, I think that'll be a product that gets rolled out. Just like loaning against Bitcoin, you're going to be able to, in my mind, you're going to be able to go into a bank, you're going to have Bitcoin, they're going to be able to be a steward of your Bitcoin. You're going to be able to, just like you do with your house, you're going to be able to say, hey, I want to borrow on it. Now, we have that right now today in DeFi, in crypto, we have that now. I mean, you can do that right now on Coinbase. You can get a loan on your money, on your crypto right now on Coinbase. So we have that in crypto and DeFi, but I think that's coming to regular brick and mortar banks very, very soon. And there might be, and we don't know, but there might be banks already that do that. I know some of the higher net wealth people that, are connected to like Lloyd's of London and stuff like that. I'm sure they've already used that as collateral. But yeah, I think that's coming, brother. That's just my own worthless degen opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was listening to a guy last week, a TradFi guy, and he said the opposite of what you said. He said that will never come because you can So if you wanted, so because of the volatility, the TradFi doesn't accept Bitcoin because of the volatility. And that's their big problem with Bitcoin. And so they say that gold is a better store of value and all that because gold is more stable than Bitcoin is. And I just don't see it. There's a lot of people like Piper last week said Bitcoin can go to 37K. I just don't see it, Piper. I just don't. I mean, he's got a good feeling about it, and I respect his opinion. He knows a lot, and he's been right a lot of time. But I just don't see Bitcoin going to 37K. I don't know.
Well, there's a
It's
difference
just me.
between possible and probable. You know, there's a big
Right.
difference, right? So anything's possible. Anything's possible. We all
Yeah.
know trading.
Yeah.
We've seen some wild things happen. Look at what's happened with Crow right now. I mean, it's kind of like doesn't make sense, right? That you get 70 billion more tokens, and that little dump happened for a day or two at the 24 hours, and now it's up.
Right.
So anything's possible. What is probable? And that's where you get into the really analytics of it all. So I don't know. I don't know where Bitcoin's going,
don't
but
either, but-
I would say this to everybody and all the people in our community. You know, I think that they all know when you come in and you buy Bitcoin at a bear market low, the next 4 years it doesn't really matter. In the next 4 years you do it again, it's going to matter because like for our entries, you know, buying at 16.5, is it going to get down to there? No, 37 is profit. 37 is profit. Huge profit, right? From 16.5, 17,000, 19,000, 37 is huge profit. So that's why I say you got to be in the game. Longer you're in the game, the better off you're going to be, right? So that's why they say it's time in the market, not time in the market. All that plays out in your real life. So I do think we'll see mortgage-backed securities with Bitcoin. I think it'll prove out to be there's nothing better as a store of value than Bitcoin. Nothing. Not gold, not silver, not even land. And they're not making any more of the land either. But as far as appreciation value, there's nothing better, in my worthless opinion. Jimmy, what GameStop? Well, you got some feelings on it, beating that dead horse.
Yeah, I mean it's Blockbuster. Nobody bought videotapes and anymore, and they went out of business. And nobody buys games or cartridges or CDs anymore. Everybody downloads it. I understand they're trying to pivot. I mean, the only reason the company's still alive because a bunch of it was a community takeover essentially. And now they're getting into trading cards. Like, man, that's like they're just spinning the wheel of desperation. It seems like.
Yeah, Jimmy, I think I would have to agree because they also tried to go into the NFT platform.
Yeah.
Supposedly, what they developed was
Yeah, that was a
funky,
big dump.
and it's not working really very, very well. So, I mean, they got some traction, and then people just kind of backed off of it. So, I think it may be a dead horse.
I mean, you go in one of those stores and it's like time traveling. I mean, there's like remnant crap from generations prior, like a museum.
Yeah, they got the old
saw
stuff.
Those in the mall a while back, and we went in there, and I was like looking around, going, "Who even comes to the mall anymore to buy crap like this?"
I
I
haven't
could
been
be
to
in
a
the
mall
house
in
in 2
years.
hours on Amazon.
Yeah.
It's like going into Spencer Gifts, man. I still like going in there because it reminds me of like when I was 16. It hasn't changed at all, man. You can
All the
still go back to the
novelties they got in there?
the corner and find your Kiss shirt, your Kiss T-shirt. They're still there, man.
Whoopee cushions and fart spray.
Oh my goodness, you brought up farts with Dave Digital present.
Nope, I refrain.
Oh, restraint. He's using some restraint.
He's backed up.
Wick says, Billy, thanks for being my dad. Yeah, man. I know. I have old boomer conditioning views. I'm sorry, Wick. Yeah, but at least you know what you're getting, man.
I mean, really, what is GM? I mean, they're going to turn into a GameStop Financial Services. How many people are lining up for those services?
I think they just totally pivoted. I think it was the same as MicroStrategy. They had nothing until they bought Bitcoin and hoped that that's something, and it may work. But they don't have anything else from what I'm seeing.
Well, sustain the company maybe, but I mean, it's like, I don't know. I mean, now you're just trying to become a financial institution. 20 years ago, you're selling video games. I mean,
GameStop
it's a hell of
strategy.
a story,
Used video game.
you know. I just
Well, my grandkids, like, that's really the only way I'm connected to. So like when my son was coming up, I take him to GameStop all the time too. Now my grandkids, and they love going to GameStop to this day, which is crazy. I agree with you, Jimmy. I walk in there and it's like, man, this place hasn't changed. But they these kids into Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Pokemon cards, and of course video games, and they do have some codes or something that they use. I don't understand it. It'd be like me talking blockchain to my dad. You know, I don't understand it. But there's some codes. They play games online. They get these codes. They take them into GameStop, and with that they get like a discount or points or something like that. So they do have like this little subculture of you know younger people that still like to go in there. And my from my daughter, my youngest grandson, he's 9. He's part of the alpha generation, and he doesn't really go in there that much. Or like it's the older one, it's the one that's now 16. Like he'd still go to GameStop right now to buy different releases and different things and look for unique Pokemon cards. Or back when he was 7 or 8, it was those plushies. They would have them. One of the only places that had them. So I don't know. It certainly isn't my target market by any means. I can't really speak on it.
What do you guys think that they could do? What could GameStop do to save themselves?
change businesses for sure, which is what it sounds like they're trying to do.
They need to buy Steam. They need to, like, the whole, like Jimmy's saying, like the whole world marketplace is changing, right? Malls are dying, retail brick and mortar is dying, digital age is upon us. Why do you have to have all that inventory sitting in a building, a brick and mortar, pay those employees to come to work? It's almost like that business model is dying out. Plus, you're up against the digital age. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
agree. I don't think that Blockbuster could have done anything to save themselves. I think if they would have tried to pivot into the streaming, into the new way of doing things, I don't think that they had the expertise. Of course, they could have bought it and they would have had to rebrand totally, I think, because of our stigma, over what they were. And I think GameStop is probably there too. What do you think, Jimmy?
I was just responding to Wick here. He made a comment, about Lego. Well, I mean, Lego is still relevant. I mean, nothing has changed with the Lego world. It's still it's a physical asset. It's a physical thing that people like to play with. Not much different than, sports cards. Sports cards. There's many. I mean, all the big companies out there, your Tops, your Paninis, and then several others that have spun off, have NFTs, and the market for sports cards, the people that are really into that, they want that physical aspect. They want that piece of cardboard in their hands. You know, Lego's the same. I mean, you know, it gives you the ability to, uh, you know, build, be creative. Whereas GameStop, all they were doing was reselling video games. And, you know, that was of an era where you had to have a cartridge or you had to have a CD. You know, you couldn't just download the stuff like you can now. So I just see them as just being a second generation blockbuster. You know, I mean, technology changed, and uh, it's unfortunate, but you're dead. You know,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, so, yeah. Wipe the slate clean. Take your wins, take your losses, and start over.
you know, I mean, we can keep one open. You know, like Blockbuster, the one on the West Coast out there, wherever it is, Seattle, or whatever. We'll keep one, and we can go visit it. You know, we'll make it a destination spot. But yeah, I mean, I just think, I mean, I get what they're doing. They're trying to save their company, but when you got to completely pivot to a really a different industry than what the company was founded on. I mean, how many companies have actually done that? I mean,
Right.
Mhm. Or they got some
and
Bitcoin
and survived. You
fanboys.
know? I
You know, they
mean,
could just be fanboys of Bitcoin.
it's
Yeah, if you think
unfortunate.
about it, a lot of the old regime didn't make it. Like if you think about Toys R Us, they couldn't pivot. Blockbuster couldn't pivot. Red Lobster couldn't pivot. There's a lot of them that couldn't pivot, and their Steak and Ale couldn't pivot. You know, they're all of those that came from that era. That era was done. That way of doing business was done, and it seemed like the new generation couldn't understand the new way to do it, and so they just didn't make it. I mean, people still buy toys. People still buy steak. People still buy
I mean, it's
seafood. We just don't buy
it,
them from any of those places.
I mean, you could say, you know, and I'm kind of responding to Retro Mike on this. I mean, you can say of me and Billy's generation, there was nothing like going to the store and buying an album and flipping the album cover open, and you've got scenes from concerts and crazy pictures and stories and all of that kind of. What do we get now? You'll download this shit and like it. You know, I mean, you don't get all that extra you know, that we had when we were buying albums every Friday when we got paid. You
But
know,
what we do get now though is access that we didn't get before. So we get live streams from these people. We get one-on-one
That's a good
chats with
point.
them. We get AMAs. I mean, we do get a little. It feels like we get a little bit more personal than what we did before. Before we would need to, you know, wait outside from the coming through the stadium to get an autograph or something like that, or wait after from the sign autographs. And now, I mean, we do kind of get up close and personal with anybody that you really want to get up close and personal. I mean, Billy could probably reach out to Gene Simmons and probably end up in a conversation with him.
Yeah, I mean, but just the allure of it all, like Jimmy is saying, like when I was wanting to buy the Kiss Alive 2 or a Kiss Alive 2 album, one of the reasons, of course, it's their new album. That's the main reason. But like when you opened it up, there was the tattoos, uh, and you know, like Paul Stanley has a rose tattoo, and one of them was the Paul Stanley rose, and I was like, oh my gosh, you know, this is so cool. And then they had the whole full color insert in there too, of like Jimmy saying, the just different photos of them at concert and stuff. It was a different era, you know, different times. The access certainly wasn't there. Twitter, X, Web3 allows a lot. I actually, Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley's boys, they were in a band together, and they had a premiere, and it was just like last week or 2 weeks ago. And since I followed, I went into their premiere, and there I'm talking to Nick Simmons, Gene's boy. So it's like that wouldn't happen with back in my day, right? It has to be with all these platforms that you're actually able to have these conversations. So there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons for sure.
but you
Yeah,
know,
but
what company has realistically, you know, it would be like McDonald's tomorrow decided to start making cars. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a completely different industry. I mean, I can't think, over my lifetime, and I know there's been some companies that have reinvented themselves, but I can't think of one that's truly, jumped, uh,
Well, I think you
industry.
mentioned it. I think you mentioned it with McDonald's because they did. Remember, they made that swap over to the coffee era, and it was pretty successful.
But in the end, I mean, it's food,
Yeah, it's
at the
still
end
the
of the
same.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thinking about McDonald's, for me, when I was growing up, the reason I wanted to go to McDonald's wasn't because of the food,
Boy.
right? It was because of the happy. It was because of the toy. It was like, hey man, we didn't get toys. I could go to McDonald's, order some food, and get a little toy, man. And they got us right. They got that whole generation of young kids with that Happy Meal. So they were into food as what they were selling, but they got into toys pretty big. Imagine those contracts, Jimmy. Imagine those contracts. Like all of a sudden you get to make 10 billion of these stupid little plastic trinket toys. you know. So
Hmm.
definitely different times. Let's see, what do we got? What's Retro Mike saying? I used to work for GameStop 5 years ago. They started a pivot to becoming collectible game because they foresaw the age of digital games coming. That shouldn't be shocking or seem like a surprise. Yeah, yeah,
Well, that's not, no, but I mean, it's their product. I mean, that's what they sell, are video games.
right.
I mean, now, the delivery mechanism
Yeah,
has
you no longer have
alleviated
to
the
go to the
need for
store.
brick and mortar, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't need a store to be able to get the latest and greatest game.
If investing right now today in brick and mortar is to me not a good investment. I think there's too many other options. The technology has changed. It makes it so much better in so many other ways. So investing in brick and mortar. Now, will it eventually flip over like everything does and become nostalgia? Yeah. I mean, look at turntables, Jimmy. Back in our day, that's all we had, right? Eight track or cassette and turntable records, right? Well, dude, I had seen a record player for the last 30 years, really, right? That you can go out and buy. Well, now they're coming back. Turntables are coming back, right? They're
Got
they're
one for
kind of
my
in
son
vogue
last
again.
Christmas.
They're huh?
Got one for my son last Christmas.
See? It's
But there's a
like
quality there too. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I mean,
yeah, yeah.
there is a quality if you're an audiophile. I mean, uh, it's not the same as digital music is. It's much warmer. To me, it sounds much better. But yeah, things do come back. I mean, do I think video game cartridges are going to come back? I don't know.
Wick says you won't own. This is a classic quote here. Well, most people right now don't own their house. They don't own their car, and most people right. It's almost like that already, man. And I don't know that everybody's happy. So I can't say that that's going to be what drives people's happiness. Myself, but
Billy, I think you made a valid point too about you wouldn't invest in a brick and mortar business. And I think even traditional brick and mortar business are finding exponential value when they go online or they do other things. Even a roofing business, even a service business. I mean, any of these, they don't just operate now with a storefront on Main Street. They have to operate in the digital world too if they're going to see that uh, the what do they call it, the network effect. I mean, you just have to. I mean, to have one location that sells to only the people that can get to your store physically just doesn't make sense anymore.
no, you're right. I mean, it's a different time, and I look back with fond memories on that time of my life as a young boy. Just all of the stores, like right there at Higbee's, where the Christmas Story in Cleveland, that was huge to go down to Higbee's and just see all their decorations and window shop and I mean, it was huge. It was just like as a child, those times are so great. Just thinking back to those times, like the Western Auto would always have a great Christmas display, and to be able to walk home from school and just look in the windows at the new toys and the bicycles and back in my day it was the slot cars. You'd have those slot cars. But the whole delivery system today is you don't need to put all that on display for people walking by. They got it right here on their device. You sit in your bedroom and you scroll through and you order it, right? And you can watch videos on it, and you can listen to video testimony on some of it. It's like brick and mortar to me is like of all the areas that we can invest our money into, that would not be one. I'm sorry. It's just it wouldn't make the list, man. So as it relates to GameStop, I think they got to do some more work. But I personally think that putting 5% in a Bitcoin is a good move for them.
Yeah, I think maybe if they pivoted it into a niche eBay type business, it could work. If they could figure out how to just do it online, let people bid back and forth, I think they could probably and then they could sell not just the games, but anything related, like maybe was referencing with Legos or with comic books or with anything that crowd likes. Maybe they could put a niche platform together, something like an eBay, to where they could do that at. But even then, I mean, they would just have to knock it out of the park, I think.
Well, I agree with Jimmy too on like the Lego thing. So Legos is such a unique. It's developed into its own subculture, right? So we as kids grew up. I had Legos, right? And they weren't so complex as they are today. You didn't have all these options to build the Empire State Building or, I don't. You know them better than I do, Jimmy. You're the Lego king here, but they kept developing that and growing to the different target markets. So they started with the kids, and as the kids aged out, they kept those people interested. And as they aged out further, they kept those people interested. They came out with new products, and they stayed up with the whole delivery system too. And they created all these really cool, mind blowing, intricate pieces and projects. And so I think they've done a really good job of hitting all of their market segments, from the little kids to the 50 and 60-year-olds, right? And even my son's 32, going to be 32 in May. He buys those Lego projects and just sits there for some rest and relaxation. He likes putting them together and building out whatever it is that he bought, whether that be, I don't know, Jimmy, what are the Empire State Building? I mean, there's so many projects, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff now. There's architecture, you got Star Wars, you got, I mean, every Disney thing you could possibly think of. I mean, they got into licensing, and that really changed things for them. When they did that, getting in with Marvels and, all of those lines. So, I just see I just see it as just another blockbuster. I mean, it's going to fall victim to technology. It's unfortunate. But I think, the latest move of them going to trading cards is probably the most logical thing for them, just for the simple fact that a lot of games and trading cards are marrying together. Is it enough to save a whole company? I don't know. I mean, the sports card market it's huge. I mean, it's huge right now. But I don't know
I
if it's
doubt
enough
it.
to sustain.
Yeah. Yeah, I doubt it. I think you're right, Jimmy. I don't think it's enough, man. I think you're right about that. But hey, the last well, let's just jump back into chat, and I do want to remind everybody of our X base. But who do we got? We got Wick. We know Wick popped in. Thanks, Wick. I know you've been here a little bit. Just make sure that we said hello to everybody. Rusty, Lost on Crypto. Good to see you. I think Dutchie's in the house. Good to see you, Dutchie. Good to see you. I hope you got a new set of clogs on, my friend. Let's see. Crabman's here. Good to see you, Crabman. Pennywise is in here. Good to see you. And of course, our main guy, All Set. All Set is everywhere. He is all set all the time. Jay Violet, good to see you. Of course, Andrea and Alexandra. Crunk made it in. Good to see Crunk. Appreciate you smacking the like button. A1, appreciate you. It's always good to see all of our folks, all of our community coming together.
We got Los on Crypto.
Los on Crypto, yep. Yep, that's right. Dutchie, yeah. Dutchie, yeah. Clogs are polished. That's cool, man. Tony, we got Tony Rosa in the house. Word up. Thanks for stopping in. So just a reminder before we get into our last topic, and then, well, Jimmy's final words is our last topic, but just a reminder, we have a great X Space coming on Tuesday. It's Finding Your Why. And we have reached out to Franklin Covey. Franklin Covey is a time management, personal development company. They print out the Franklin planners, and they have a whole institute on the Finding Your Why Institute. This guy's certified Finding Your Why trainer. He's very involved in Franklin Covey and been around the block in personal development and training. And his name is Doug Thorpe, and he will be on speaking about finding your why and how important it is to find your why, how important it is to understand your purpose. I mean, we're all in here, crypto industry. We trade, we buy crypto, store it for Bitcoin for store value. We're involved, right? But we also have families, and we also have to stay grounded and understand what we're doing with our life, right? And that's the segment of Billy Goat Tales that we try to bring you every single day on motivational mindset, just so that we don't forget why we're here, what we're doing, and finding your why is very, very important. I think you guys are going to love it. So, and it's great to have Doug Thorpe leading that for us as well. So that is on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on X, and we hope to see you all there as well. So let's see, what time is it, Jimmy? We got time. I don't want to cut you short. Well,
real quick,
actually,
Billy, did you see
yeah.
on the screen there? K-Dig wrote a poem for Wick. Wick is the man. He came by to say hi. Everybody knows he's a hell of a guy. Watch your back and don't drop the soap. With Wick in the house, you ain't got no hope.
Oh my goodness gracious, man. Let's see.
Looks like we have a lot of requests to open the club. What does Jimmy think?
That's Jimmy's call.
Spin it. They went over there making pizza.
Jimmy Jim, let's we always have a segment that we shoot into.
Bring it.
As soon as Dave Digital finds it.
I'm still trying to get over David over there making spreading the crust. What do you call it?
Flipping the pizza.
Spinning pizza. Whoops, man down. It
Uh-oh.
was a little bit of a slow week. I mean, I was laid out pretty bad this past week. I don't know, all of this pollen count stuff has really gotten to me the last couple of years. Guess it's just part of getting old. But after the show, I did jump in on a couple of breaks, and I have to say, actually, there was a lot of people in the chat said I had a Jordan flu game. You know, for the amount of stuff I ended up hitting, we got we added in a whole bunch of sketch cards of these Star Wars. Whoop, there we go. Looks like Pablo Escobar, but I think that's supposed to be Lando. And we got another one here. I called it, looked like an ET, but ET's not Star Wars. I'm not sure who that's supposed to be. And then we had
Looked like a frog.
Little clone trooper. I don't know who the hell that is. Anybody in the chat?
Keeper.
That is?
It's Crypto Keeper.
That does look like Keeper. And then but the big one we did land a nice little 101.
Ooh.
A Padme. That came out pretty nice. I always go big on the Star Wars stuff, but that's I did go in on a few baseball breaks, and then that just turned it pretty incredible. We ended up landing a dual autograph card. Was that there? And then we ended up in the same break, 3 cards later, with a quad mem from some Dodger players there.
Amazing.
And
Wow.
then probably the granddaddy is, Star Wars kind of started doing the whole sketch card thing. Well, now they're doing it in baseball. And then we ended up with this Marcus Simeon hand-drawn sketch. It's a 101. You can see it here on the back. Artist signature, little note there. But that is a 101 hand sketch card. So
Wow.
that is the art that I've been collecting over the
Jimmy,
last few months.
real quick. Wick says, what's the stuff people trying to collect right now and they're too late on?
I mean,
that's a good question.
Bitcoin.
I wouldn't say, there's a whole lot. I mean, the sports stuff. I mean, here's a good example. So I think it was 2 weeks before I pulled Mickey, a fella that's in those breaks pulled a Wembanyama card. It was a 101. He pulled it, and I think it was the very next week, Wemby got hurt, right? And everyone was like, oh, it's a $40,000 card, this, that, and the other. That card went to auction last night, and it sold for under $8,000.
Mm.
So, that's
Ouch.
kind of the, I wouldn't say there's really anything just bad that you missed the boat on kind of thing. I mean, that's the beauty of sports cards, is that, one series comes out and there's going to be another one, 2 or 3 more in that year. But when you're dealing, with rookie cards and things like that, you're speculating, I mean, there's a lot of hype. You got Paul Skeens right now, with a lot of hype around him. Everybody's hanging on to, his cards, in case he ends up becoming a Nolan Ryan. So there's definitely some, how to say it, there's some quick flip stuff. There's a lot of hype around a player. I tend to flip those cards pretty quickly, especially if they're rookies, and there's a lot of hype around them. But I'll always try to hang on to 1 or 2, get those graded, and then kind of just sit on them, right? Things like Mickey and like these sketch cards. The sketch cards are actually very niche. Some people like them, some people don't. I'd say most of these sketch cards, I mean, if it's good subject and a good drawing, they're, I mean, I wouldn't say this is probably not a $200 card. I'd say this is probably more of a $150 card. Uh, but I kind of did it to myself this past weekend. They have these breaks. At the end of the break, you spin a wheel, and I hit the bounty on the wheel. So not only did I get some really freaking awesome cards, I also banked $550 on top of that. What I didn't get was a sketch card by an artist that and I'll hopefully I'll have it in hand next week. But it's a two piece. It's two cards, and she drew the picture across both cards. So now I'm on a mission, and I actually traded the guy. I was like, hey, uh, you know, I didn't get the sketch card, but I won the bounty. So how about I just give you $100 of my bounty, and you give me the sketch card. So now we've got a bounty out there trying to find the second part of that sketch card so I can marry them together. It's probably going to drive me crazy over the next year, probably under some kid's bed somewhere. But hopefully that thing pops up. I would love to have that second piece of that sketch. It's very unique. I haven't seen an artist do that yet in any type of a set. What did Rusty say there? How much do a pack of cards cost from the store? Well, Rusty, if you're going to Walmart and Target, and we're talking sports cards here, not anything that's Pokemon related or anything like that. It varies. They have it's all over the place. I would say, generally speaking, for a hobby box of sports cards, I mean, you're going to spend probably anywhere between $300 and $400. And the reason you're going to do that is because you missed the drops. And that is really a key in the sports card game, is getting in on the drops direct from Topps or Panini. A lot of the times they'll have a Dutch auction where a box might start. I think there's one coming out this week. It's the Panini Deca series, and they'll do a Dutch auction. Okay, and basically, if you're not familiar with what a Dutch auction is, they're going to start the price around $3,000 a box, and then every 5 minutes the price drops until they sell out. So you've got to make a gut call. Do I go in and spend the $3,000, or do I try to wait for this thing to come down to $2,700, $2,500, and then they sell out? There's some fair lunch products out there that it's a raffle. But typically, I'll give you a good for instance. I bought 10 boxes of Star Wars Hyperspace. I was able to get them direct. It was $179 a box. 5 minutes after that ended, they were on eBay for $300. So, we do a little bit of all. I'll buy as many boxes as I can, hang on to a few for myself, sell a few, because the price, it's like Lego. I mean, as soon as a Lego set retires, I mean, if it was a $50 set, well, now it's a $100 set. And depending on how much they ran of a particular set, or how hard it starts, getting to find things, those prices go up. I mean, even to this day, if you want a case of Series 10 Lego minifigures, which is the one series where the Mr. Gold came in, and it's known there's still some floating around out there, but a case of those is going to cost you $1,100 and up. So it's supply and demand, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's gambling, yes, but it's a lot of fun chasing, some of these cards. And then especially when you hit one, I mean, we've hit so many one-on-ones, but I've probably spent a Bitcoin, on sports cards over the last 4 months. I mean, literally. But
Well, Rick,
we're close to
says you're
break
going.
even.
Rick says you're going to start collecting shoes pretty soon. He
Hey,
says
I
he
mean, if
can
there's a
feel it.
market for it, I will.
And then Dutchy says I can make some clogs.
But
Now
no, it's a
that's
lot
good
of fun.
stuff. Yeah, that excitement, right? I mean, it's really in a lot of ways from a hobby standpoint, you get something really cool, and then you also can actually make some money on it too, which is it's fun, right? It's really cool.
Yeah, it's the Star Wars stuff for me that's hard to let go. I mean, we have amassed so many autographs and just really cool cards. Things that take me back to my childhood. Um, we were at a couple of shows and people were flipping through some of the Star Wars stuff, wanting to pull some of my one-on-ones, and I was just like, oh, I don't know if I can let that one go. It's tough sometimes, but that's why we deal with a lot of like stuff I don't like. WWE. I'm not a big WWE fan, but I will buy the crap out of WWE cards because they move. You know.
Jimmy's going to get his own indicators, have momentum waves on there and everything, man, so you can see what's coming and what's sitting still, right? Then you
You
have
know that.
DDT. He'll start trading that shit too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Jimmy, anything else before we close her down?
Nah, man, all good.
Hopefully, I didn't forget anything this time. I'm still learning too. We forget stuff all the time. Dave, you good? Everybody's good. Nothing else
Yeah,
to
I'm
add,
good.
Redman?
I
Hashtag give us
believe
gain.
I believe the GME Bitcoin thing is a cash grab. To be honest with you, they're grabbing at straws because they could see their profits declining, and they're trying to make do with what they have and try to milk this market for what they can get out of it.
It could be, brother.
That's my personal opinion. That's just the way I look at it. It's when they start doing stuff like this, yeah, I believe it's because they're trying to squeeze liquidity out of the market because they need it.
It could be. Absolutely. All right, guys. DDT, thanks for doing charts. We appreciate you. Until next time, we'll see you next Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Tuesday at 9 p.m. And I'm sure we'll see you in all the other chat rooms and YouTube channels around the interwebs. Thanks for coming, everyone.